troops. Welcome to the Action Elite. My name is Owen, and this is our first live stream of 2023, and that's entirely my fault for various health issues, which I won't bore you with here. But the good news is that we're all healthy and we're all good and ready to talk about some action again. And tonight we are going to be discussing one of my personal favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme films, Sudden Death. So before that, though, I'm going to bring in the squad. So tonight I'm going to start off with Nate. How are you?
Why, hello there.
Hello there.
Ready.
Put your pants on, quick.
Ah!
And I'll bring on Charlie. How are you?
Who's saying something about pants? It's supposed to be from this part up.
Yeah, that was part of the deal. And Stephen, put your pants on.
I was about to say, pants wasn't part of the
Pants at a time
Stream
like
is cancelled. And finally, J-Man. How are you?
Hey, everybody.
So, everybody okay? All good?
Yeah,
we're
it was
good.
about us being live as we were live.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be about hockey. So I didn't realize it was about I was like, I haven't watched a game in a while, so I don't know if I'm going to be any use. But Sudden Death Van Damme.
Bring Jean-Claude Van Damme. I watched that video earlier, by the way, Charlie, that you sent me from Parks and Recreation. I've seen it before, but it's classic.
I love it. I was
I've
like,
you don't that extended cut of it. I've seen where he does Roadhouse and where I can't remember what other movies he does in that whole bit.
You literally don't have to watch Sudden Death, but listen to that, and you'll feel like you've seen Sudden Death.
The fact that it just got that song about it just helps sort of people know about the film anyway, which
exactly,
I like.
Man.
So, do you know the film actually was a failure at the box office at the time, and because there was a sequel initially going to be planned. I was like, oh, I would have loved to see that, but never happened because it was a disappointment at the box office.
I looked a little into that. This movie got the worst release date that you possibly could as an action movie.
What was it?
It was Christmas week.
Oh,
What was it?
Yeah, that's dead on arrival. Like, whenever that happens.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, well, maybe 95 was a weird year for action. Nope, 95 was a banger.
Yeah.
Like 95 is an incredible year for action movies. This just got squeezed in where it's all the, back then, especially award season movies,
Yeah.
Right.
I think I read that they said that Die Hard with a Vengeance's opening weekend was more than all of Sudden Death's take.
I know that, which is a
That
shame.
says a lot right there.
Because it's funny when I think about it, I've watched Sudden Death more than Die Hard with a Vengeance, even though I love that. But Sudden Death is actually one of my top Van Damme movies. I watch all the time. And blasphemy though this is, it's not because of Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's entirely Powers Boothe, who I think is one of the most underappreciated villains.
Fantastic in this movie.
So good. He's so hateful. And it's funny, you never even find out his name until the end. Until the end credits is Joshua Foss. But it's the same with pretty much all of the henchmen in it, is that you never really find out.
They're all nameless,
They're just goons that need to be killed. The only one who really has a name is Carla, and she deserves that name because she's the Penguin.
Yeah.
Which is probably my all-time favorite Van Damme fight scene. I mean, you're not really gonna top that.
It's like top 3 for me. It's right there.
It's one of those why couldn't we just keep this happening in all the movies? Like Double Team, he just has another mascot he has to fight.
Just different animals every time.
Yeah.
A lion, a bear,
we got a pig one. Let's get the tiger. Let's get was it Gritty from the Philly Flyers in future sequel? Yeah.
We'll say you could have done Double Team and let him fight the bull from the Chicago Bulls because you had Rodman in there.
Oh,
exactly.
It worked.
Yeah. Although there's also a tiger at the end, which he did fight.
You're not wrong. There is a tiger at the end.
So there is that.
Random.
So I know, Steve, you've only got an hour, so I'm going to dump on you first.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on Sudden Death?
Well, now I'm glad Nate said when the release date was, because I was sitting there saying, why the hell didn't I see this in the theater? And now I remember. Now I know why, because it was in a very inopportune time. But I wanted to see this movie, shamefully, also not because of Van Damme, but because of Powers Boothe. Because I had just seen a little movie previous year called Tombstone.
Yeah.
And it had great heroes, but it had awesome villains, which no one talks about, like Michael Biehn, Stephen Lang, and Powers Boothe as Curly Bill Brocious. And he was awesome in that. Like, he just was sinister. His mustache was great. Like, everything about him was top notch. So like when they're like, oh, he's going to be in a Van Damme movie as a villain. I'm like, Powers Boothe. First of all, Powers Boothe, he has the perfect name. He's like a James Bond villain.
Yeah,
name should be
that's it.
But he was just like that menacing guy, and it was a different thing for me because, well, it shouldn't be that different because like Time Cop came out and he had Ron Silver. He couldn't, Ron Silver can't fight. No. But I was kind of like, what is Powers Boothe like his mind versus Van Damme's like action? How's it going to work? Right. So I was very interested in that. I didn't care about the hockey component, which is funny because I'm Canadian. I'm supposed to, hockey's supposed to be my thing, but it wasn't. Well, I was very impressed when he went on the ice as a goaltender. I thought that was awesome because I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah, he would have lost.
The most heart pounding. Forget defusing the bombs, stopping a shot in the Stanley Cup 7 games. 7th game. I'm like, yeah, that probably was the most tense thing for him. But it was an awesome film. It's Die Hard in Pittsburgh in the igloo, basically. Yeah, is what it is. But it was a terrific thing. Our buddy Sean talked about the chicken bone in the neck. I mean that was just like a horrible death, man. I'm like,
but really, he deserved it though. I mean,
he deserved it.
Who would have let that guy into the guy's like the dodgiest looking guy ever with like the hair and the sunglasses.
Yeah, he was wearing the sunglasses all the time. Like when he wasn't wearing the sunglasses, I didn't recognize him. I'm like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Right. But awesome film. I liked it because it was just Van Damme running around looking for bombs and Powers Boothe menacing a captive audience. Like, what more could you ask for?
Exactly. Yeah. And he's such a murderous, evil bastard in it too. He's just like, the mayor has decided not to run for re-election. I mean, he has all the best lines in the movie. It's him who has the best lines. Like Van Damme barely has any memorable dialogue apart from the fucking Navy. Which you like, but it's mostly Powers Boothe who steals the show.
Oh yeah, he's there. It's like, oh, the mayor's wife is the one who's annoying all of us, right? Like, that's the one who's going to get it. And I'm like, oh man.
Well, he shoots the guy in the head, walks away, and shoots the other guy in the leg. Like that one guy was wounded. I need a doctor. Kill him. I'm going to wound another guy though. That really got to send it home for everybody.
Yeah, and I think his most dastardly moment. It's a young wine, almost frisky. And he's just after he just shot somebody and he's just more interested in the glass of wine. It's like, you dick. And it's just such a great hateful villain. And all the villains were like, I mean, you could say they're absolute cartoon villains. They're just like absolute bastards. But I love cartoon villains in action movies rather than some backstory where we sympathize with them or whatever else. No, I just want to watch these guys get killed. And that's exactly what this does. Like the guy with the pink shirt. Oh,
he shoots the chef.
Yeah,
he's like, he would have missed his wife because he already had the wife killed.
Yeah, and that recently deceased. Yeah,
that henchman is a bad. He's like, do you have cookies? I'm like, what?
Yeah,
sometimes you're gonna need a snack when you're, terracing.
They killed Mrs. Roper. I was so upset.
Yeah.
Right? It's Mrs. Roper from Three's Company. They killed that's the wife. I was so upset when she died.
That's who she is. I've always remembered. I was like, I remember her from Three's Company. That's what it was. I was like, why do I know her from something? That's what it is.
Yeah. I was so
didn't realize that the vice president was Arlo from Justified. I was like, that dude aged to a totally different person.
Yeah. Raymond J. Barry. Yeah.
The way that man is aged, I'm like, nope, that's Arlo? No way.
I just watched it today and I've seen all of Justified. I didn't even realize that.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta go back. I gotta go re-examine that again.
Oh no, you gotta go watch Son of Death again. Waka waka. Jeez.
Damn shame.
I gotta say, I can't believe I'm saying this because I usually hate them. I love the kid who stays in the seat.
Yeah,
like everyone runs out of the
stadium.
Even
when the building's falling down around you.
Yeah, the building's literally like he says, "Oh, I don't care if the building's falling down around you. Don't move." And the hands are falling down around. He's like, "No, I didn't move."
I was like, the kids actually weren't annoying. Like even Emily was nice. I thought she was actually a cute kid. And you know me, I'm not normally a fan of kids in movies, but I loved Emily with her wee stamp thing.
Which came into play.
Comes into play. I love how they integrated that.
That's the thing the film doesn't get enough credit for is that it's actually really well written because there's lots of foreshadowing throughout. And it was only on this viewing. I don't know. I'm not that bright, so it was only on this viewing that I noticed that whenever Van Damme meets the hockey players earlier on, And it says, oh yeah, it says, I used to play hockey when I was younger in Canada or whatever. And I was like, oh, he was a goalie then, so that's why he was a good goalie later on in the movie. Is it? How did I not know that?
It's like riding a bike. He was just like, oh yeah, I know this instinct.
Yeah, I got this.
It takes like 15 minutes to get that goalie suit on, by the way. Like I played goalie for the short time that I went for power skating, and it takes forever to get stuff on. I'm like, you would have lost some time, but anyway, it's okay.
Although they play that up because he has to fight while in the goalie suit, so it's not like he was able to take it off fast. He's like cutting the laces and everything off.
A major complaint of mine. How are you going to give us a movie where he doesn't murder a man with an ice skate?
It's
right there.
Yeah,
I know.
How do we not get that? Or at least a hockey stick like down a throat or something.
That would have been a better kill. It's not even a kill, but when the guy gets his hand caught in the press and Van Damme bashes his head to the wall, I'm like, that guy's not dead, but that should have been like the blade sharpening center where they had a blade in a vice and smack his head into the skate. So I'm violent tonight, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. You're in the right place for that then.
Yes.
I mean, Happy Gilmore got suspended for taking his ice skating rink, off and trying to stab someone.
Yeah.
So it only seems fair that Van Damme would do the same thing. I just don't know how you don't have that opportunity. I don't get it.
They're brutal in this movie. Like Icy dies really freaking slowly and painfully because it strangles her, and then the steam from
She deserves it, though.
those things get stupid hot. And then he's like cooking the one dude's face. He's like, you got a little bit of ear left, and he keeps holding his head down. I'm like, and then the chicken leg to the neck. I'm like, this movie's brutal as all get out. But then they do something like, I'm going to just stab this guy's hand and slam another guy's head in the weights. I'm like, they're technically not dead. They're just hanging out in the room.
They're just really.
Well, they could probably get arrested.
I mean, they'll pick them up, but still, I was like, damn.
The movie does do. Oh, go for it, Owen.
I was just going to say this, and then I'll let everybody else talk because I need to shop. But I still think the biggest mistake the movie made was using the chicken bone, and then Van Damme could have said, "Talk about a boner." And he didn't say it. Come on, what a missed opportunity. I mean, that was right there, and he didn't say it. So
should have dropped him in the deep fryer at that point, like my fried chicken. Something.
You're fried.
Do you want fries with that? I mean, come on, writes itself. So right, J-Man, your thoughts on?
Well, I remember I said this in the last stream. Oddly enough, that this trailer is one of my favorite trailers for any movie. I watch a trailer a lot. Because I like the we're gonna do this by the numbers. What number was that? All that.
Love that.
I love that. Well, obviously I love this movie. I've seen every Van Damme movie in the theater from Nowhere to Run and on. I went to go see this because it was Van Damme, not because of Powers Boothe, because I didn't know who that person was really.
Yeah, at the time it was Van Damme for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew it was Die Hard. Like we knew all the Die Hard clones were coming out. But I thought this one was a little bit more like there's a couple of Van Damme movies in the beginning where it's like these are for the hardcore kind of fans, martial arts movies, Kickboxer and all that. Then he had a few of those. It's like Nowhere to Run, Sudden Death, Time Cop, where it's a little bit more like general audience can watch this and get something out of it, and it's not too
they're
like
action films, not martial arts films, really.
And they're not even though Time Cop is sci-fi, it's not like Blade Runner sci-fi where you're like, okay, I've got to really pay attention to what's going on and get the meaning out of this. It's just like, okay, they're action movies, but they're more accessible, and Sudden Death is accessible, and I think they did a good job of like managing the level of violence to the point where it's a Van Damme movie and I want to see a couple of good kills. I want to see a little bit of martial arts, but it's not supposed to be a martial arts movie. They kind of gave something to everybody. So it is weird. I was looking at Wikipedia. It made 64 million on a budget of 34 or something, which is not bad, but not great.
Not great. Yeah.
It should have done way better because it actually is probably, I would have to think and get a list together, but it's probably besides Die Hard, it would be my favorite Die Hard clone. Although I like Under Siege 2 and Under Siege is really good. Those two are both really good.
Under Siege is a really good one of a ripoff.
I think at some point we should do we'll do Under Siege versus Under Siege 2. I think
let's do that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's do the categories because I think that'd be very interesting.
I know.
No, but that'd be.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I'm down, but I'm also going. I love both those movies.
I know. I know Steve wrote one on the site a couple of years back, but I always like to sort of have a discussion about it. It's always fun. So I sort of prefer doing with the verses now. It's better when we're doing like a live stream talking about it a lot of the time.
Sure.
What we should have done was a versus of this versus Dolph's command performance. That way we get Rockstar drummer Dolph.
Damn it. That was been a good idea. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I haven't seen it since it came out, but you know what? I remember really enjoying it. And I think he kills a man with a drumstick.
He knows
something. He realized what he needed to use as his weapons around him. Something Van Damme didn't do.
Yeah, that is disappointing. You would have thought that would have lent itself to a kill, but it just didn't kind of happen. But
at least
kick
a guy.
They tried. You know what? I don't mind a movie that's aware that it's ripping off something, and then in the ripping off of it, they have you thinking it's going to go one way, and then it does turn, like the guy, the FBI agent being a bad guy, and it's like that could have fooled people, right? Like you're like, oh shit, I didn't know he. And then even the way Van Damme plays, where it's like, oh, I've got a bunch of guys, I'm not alone. It's like, oh, where are the other guys? Oh yeah, you know, and they keep putting that off until the point where the guy says, you are alone, right? And then you're like, oh fuck, here you go, and then boom, right? But that was pretty good. Yeah, Powers Boothe obviously is awesome. Like he's just crazy good. And he is a total dick. And I actually want him. I like that they're assholes because I want to see them die. And you know, as opposed, and they do. If you make them too cool, you almost don't want them to die because they're kind of cool. Like Powers Boothe, you're like, ooh, he's really cool, but now he's a monster. But just kill this guy, right? Like, you know, Hans Gruber is like, I'm kind of like, oh, this guy's so awesome.
Yeah, I'd rock for him.
I'm like, I really like this guy. But Powers Boothe does have a lot of loyalty because, I mean, his people were not giving him up. Like that guy's getting burned, and he's like, no, I'm not telling you. And there was quite a few. Usually it's 2 or 3, right? It's like, tell me, no, boom, tell me, okay, right? This was like boom, boom, boom. It's like, you're losing your ear. Okay, shit, I'm gonna tell you now. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, the kids were good too. The girl stamping him, I think, was kind of neat. That was a neat part. Yeah, I mean the hockey's good. I was hoping the Blackhawks would win because I had a Blackhawks jersey at that when that movie came. So I'm always on the wrong end of the stick no matter where I go. I'm cheering for the Blackhawks. It's a Penguins movie, buddy. I'm like, all right. So
I actually,
you monster.
I was lucky enough to see it 3 times in the cinema when it came out.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't released at Christmas in the UK. I think back then we used to get them a couple of months after you guys. And I think I saw it in the spring, but Dad was always taking me to Van Damme and Seagal movies in the cinema whenever we could. Now we just watch them at home, obviously, because they don't get theatrical releases, sadly. But I mean, we saw like Hard Target and Sudden Death like I think 3 times, and then Hard Target like 5 times or something. We used to see it all the time.
Hard Target lasted 5 minutes that's the only one I missed out of every Van Damme movie that came out after Nowhere to Run because it did not last long here. I don't know.
That's weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw Nowhere to Run in the cinema, actually. Did I? I can't remember.
That was the first one I got carded at Time Cop.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
The first one I saw was Universal Soldier, the first one I saw that in the cinema. And I was actually just whenever my cousin had introduced me to Van Damme like a year before, and he had all the VHS tapes, and it was like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Death Warrant, all these, and we watched them, and I was like, this guy's awesome. And then that was it. So it's my cousin introduced me. So thanks, Patrick.
That was us renting all of the Van Damme movies when we were finally able to watch them. And you're just like, this is awesome. This is even better. This is amazing. Yeah.
Imagine how lucky were we to grow up during that era whenever we got to grow up watching all these awesome action movies and things. So, but yeah, also one thing which my favorite aspect of the entire movie is the music score by John Debney, especially during the finale. See, whenever he's swinging on the lights at the end and then blowing everything up, and I was like, it's so exciting. And the movie is like, it's super tense. And actually, and the hockey game interspersed with the action scene really does actually add to it. It builds it up and builds it up. And in the final 20 minutes, just action nirvana of just him being a total invincible action hero. And I've always loved that scene. So yeah, shout out to John Debney for doing an awesome score. So Nate, over to you.
Oh, well, I mean, I was really young when I saw this, and it was actually at my Nana and Papa's house, who's, if you listen to our podcast, is known for like a lot of my movie times because they had cable. We didn't. We were poor. But like, obviously the mascot always stuck out. And then as a kid, yes, loving Van Damme. Then as an adult watching this, it's Powers Boothe and both like and Van Damme, but like getting this, just that respect of what Powers Boothe does. Because especially when you have a diehard clone, like Hans Gruber is instantly like, all right, how does your villain like compare to him? And like, I feel like he's pretty comparable. Hans will always be the GOAT, but like Powers Boothe, what he does in this movie is powerful. It really is. Like, But what I like about what this movie does compared to like Speed or Under Siege and stuff is you give Van Damme a quest where he has to go around and collect all those bombs. And I love that he drew like a little shady map of where he thought the bombs would be because of his days being, you know,
fire
in the fire department. Yeah.
It made sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I love the crudely drawn map. Like, yeah, that's where I'd put them. But like, instead of having like the walkie-talkie back and forth, you get that one conversation over the phone and him making the rules with the bad guy. Like, no,
come and get me.
We're going to play my game. This is how we're going to do it, you know? And you have the intensity of the game, the hockey game, counting down and him trying to find all the bombs. Like, I think that's clever. I think it's enough to make its own little thing. And like, I agree with J-Man, like of the Die Hard clones, this is definitely probably within the top 5, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like it's one of those I would literally have to like do a Google search of like all of them and then like
there are a lot.
Yeah, especially in this time frame where like Hollywood went, oh, we can make this a thing where it's one guy versus an army. Cool. Like, let's just shell them out. And I mean, literally all of them have done it except for what, Arnold? I think he's the only one that hasn't. Because
he was always more of an innovator. He never liked to copy people. Arnie, he would always do something sort of different.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing that I noticed it this time around when watching it, Van Damme doesn't use a weapon at all until like the final act. Like literally, like the most of the movie, he is improvising with, you know, his fist and kicks and stuff. But the dude barely uses a gun until literally when he is swinging in and using that explosive to come in. Like, he uses the gun a little bit when he's dressed up as the goalie, but it's really just suppression fire. Like, he's not typically aiming, which I thought was cool because you're giving him that backstory of being a fire marshal, fire department. Like, he's not a cop. He's just an athlete. Like, you know how some people are just like, they're just gifted with what tools they have. Like, that's what he is, you know? Now, Charlie and I have discussed this before with Van Damme movies. There's a lack of Van Damme butt in this movie, though.
Yes.
It really is.
Now, I guess it's because of his kids, but like he could have at least like when walking away, like to his wife, his ex-wife. That's how he should have walked away from his ex-wife. Like, you miss this booty, don't you?
And also, like, let's talk about her for a second, right? Because the movie takes place 2 years after, like, the wee girl dies at the beginning. Like, so within 2 years, they've already split up, and then she's already got another man. Or you didn't waste much bloody time, did you?
She's not a very sympathetic character.
No, but they never are. Like the ex-wives in action movies always have to be.
You
like,
kind of forget she exists though after like that because
she doesn't matter. Yeah,
and like just like you know, you can't do this again. I'm like, can't take the kids to a hockey game.
He got 2 free tickets.
Yeah. I thought it was a nice touch that the new boyfriend guy
was good.
Took his side and he said, you know, those look like penguin tickets. You know, maybe you should go or whatever. And I was like, you know, you're all right. So I thought that was quite an interesting touch rather than making him, you know, the smarmy douchebag or whatever. And he gets back together with the wife at the end of this. No, he probably doesn't. But he has at least got back his self-esteem.
Doesn't even get acknowledged. Like, hell, it doesn't even show her like watching the news like, oh god, this is happening at the stadium that my kids are at, you know.
Who cares? She's too busy being a bitch.
Like the weird thing though of watching this movie again too, like Van Damme action doesn't really kick into what, like an hour into
37 minutes. That's the first time he has a fight with a henchman.
Okay, like it takes a while, but it didn't bother me in the sense of like the movie was dragging or anything like that because you were seeing the henchmen. Like the henchmen were setting stuff up, the way they were killing people and dispatching them was like, oh, okay, like you still had technically action, it just wasn't your Van Damme action. And then once we get him involved, then it's like, all right, now we're going pretty full steam ahead.
And he fails. He doesn't get all the bombs.
Yeah, no, right, like he doesn't get all the bombs.
Fireman. Yeah.
Hey, and like played that bomb level on Ninja Turtles on Nintendo. That's really freaking hard, man.
Why does everyone say that?
I
ended Ninja Turtles. I ended that game. It's easy. I can do Technodrome, no problem. That part's easy. Everyone always says this. It's rubbish.
No,
I know, Steve. You can't do it either. You guys all suck. I can.
My level of the spectrum wasn't being good at video games like that.
Same here.
Right. Damn seaweed. Suck.
Just tap faster. Tap faster.
Tap faster.
I could never see Merle in Metal Gear Solid because I couldn't tap fast enough.
That's my explanation.
I always thought like more Van Damme movies deserved like video games. Like imagine a Bloodsport video game if they did it with today's technology.
That could have been like a
all
perfect
different
Street Fighter clone.
Yeah, but it could be so awesome. And then
that one guy just does kicks.
Yeah,
they did that Street Fighter one with the Van Damme characters in it, which was really bad.
Oh, it's one of
that one.
It's one of the worst Street Fighter ones.
Yeah,
and it sucks because he is basically Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat.
And they
game.
use the Mortal Kombat like technology of like
Right.
actually filming the actors, you know,
except badly
and posing them in. Yeah,
yeah, but it's just like that's exactly who that is. But yeah, we don't have any Van Damme video games. I think there's Universal Soldier. Did we find out?
Yeah, we did find out about that one on
Universal
Super Nintendo.
Soldier, Time Cop.
Yeah.
There might be one or two others that but movie video games
look into
suck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But I would have loved a sudden death when you just fight lots of henchmen or whatever, defuse bombs and things like that. Yeah,
but then all of a sudden
tower.
You have to play a hockey game in the middle. So all of a sudden, the hockey game happens. You got to play the
you're
hockey
only
level.
the goalie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you have to save 5 shots, and then you can move
then
on.
Then you can progress into it.
Right. But as a twist, you can also play as Powers Boothe and play the villain.
Oh, that would be badass.
That would never happen. Not in NES days.
No, but execute as many hostages as possible in 5 minutes.
The IC boss level would be amazing. That's all.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to just talk about that scene just forever. I mean,
oh god,
it's just the best. I mean, it's Van Damme getting his ass kicked by a penguin. I mean,
by Big Bird. It's essentially him fighting.
There's no way that person could see that stunt person.
No,
like throwing those legs and stuff. You know?
That's the true hero in this movie.
Yeah.
Person.
The girl though, I think it was the actress because she was also a stunt woman.
I'll buy it because she's
nice.
freaking tall too. I mean, so it's really hard to like swap that out. And I have to imagine once you get used to being in it, you're like, okay, no one's gonna match my movements to where it looks like me.
But you're gonna be
in
sweating
this.
your ass off in that the entire time.
Oh
like,
god!
If you're like, I gotta fight in this, like really, why did I choose to be the mascot? This should have been an easy mission, in and out. We get the money from the vice president, and that's it. We're done. Now I got this asshole kicking me. Thankfully, I got this padding that way it doesn't hurt as much. But still, this is bullshit.
And she tried to kill the kid.
Yeah. Fucking give me a Mother's Day card.
Exactly. She ran out of bullets.
The henchwoman ever though, because she gets the costume, and then she's in the can, and then someone's like bugging her. Oh god, now I got to kill this person. And then she comes out, and there's this little girl like, oh god, and she's bugging her. I'm just trying to be a terrorist.
Literally the worst day ever for a terrorist.
It's a bad day for terrorists and Van Damme's in the same place.
They woke up, they had a flat tire, so they were late to the meetup. Like,
that's why she had to. That's why she had to be the mascot. She's last to show up.
Relax. You knew the rules.
You're in the costume.
About this. Yeah.
What was the mascot supposed to do? I don't think it was very clear. We never got to find out like what was the role of the mascot.
They're there to entertain.
Well, they did.
I have no idea what the purpose was other than just to give us a badass fight, and I don't care.
That is the purpose.
Well,
I know this movie was supposed to be like originally like an action comedy
parody. Yeah, it was going to.
That was the only scene that stayed from the original script. I haven't seen the Michael J. White. Like
I haven't either, but I read that it's
terrible.
Reboot, but I know that's supposed to be more comedy than what.
And it has a budget of $3, so it's like it just doesn't like all the action. Like the fight scenes are right. Like I like Michael J. White. I love.
That's the thing. Michael J. White can never catch a break. The dude
I know he deserves to be a bigger star than he is. It's not fair.
100%.
So
we deserve another Black Dynamite. Damn it.
Hell yes.
Spawn.
Yeah. Although the Outlaw Johnny Black,
I would let him have a second chance at Spawn.
Yeah. The Outlaw Johnny Black is apparently like Black Dynamite, but I don't know when that's coming out. I know David J. Moore saw it and he said it was good. So
nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing it at some point.
I don't think you should do Sundance. Like if you do action comedies, it's really hard because the comedy can come from the characters' interaction with each other and they're funny with each other. But when it comes to the action, if it's too silly, then it's not worth doing, in my opinion, because it's like, I want to get into the action. Like Lethal Weapon, if you say, oh, it's funny. Yeah, but they're funny together, riffing on each other, whatever.
It's just the dialogue they're saying,
not the fighting parts. Like Black Dynamite is spoofing obviously blaxploitation, so that's
first one's actually very grim. It's a very
It is.
story.
It is.
I mean, it doesn't. It gets funnier as the series goes, but you're comfortable with the characters.
That's why the first one's still my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and my interest gets less as they go along.
I think part 2 really still holds up really well
Yeah.
to the first one.
I
don't know if
enjoy them
it
all.
surpasses.
Yeah.
Oh, I can watch them all. Period.
Yeah.
But as far as what I like, because it's actually like 1, 2, 4, and then 3. I actually like the last one a lot more than I like the third.
Interestingly enough, I saw the third one first, like before anything else. Like I saw the third one in the cinema, and I had to see Lethal Weapon 1 or 2 because this was the first one that was rated 15 in the UK, and I was just 15 at the time, so I got to see it. And then I was like, okay, that was awesome, but I need to see the other 2 movies to find out what they're talking about with the bomb in the toilet, whatever, because they're referencing that. So
There's so much backstory there.
That's why I still check the toilet every time.
Yeah.
He has a phobia.
I do.
And
I don't know who I pissed off either.
Yeah, I mean, the third one just has sort of too much comedy then, and it becomes a bit more sort of slapstick. But I like the bad guy in it, Stuart.
Yeah.
I can't remember the actor's name. He was in
Stuart Wilson?
No Escape. Yeah, Stuart Wilson. Yeah. I always like him whenever he's a villain. So he's
awesome in No Escape. Dude, No Escape is insane.
Yeah. Man, there's so many movies we've got to talk about, man. No Escape. We'll do a Lethal Weapon one. Lethal Weapon's sort of better around about Christmas. Because it's Christmas movie.
Yeah. Well, that's for the first one. You can actually do the other 3 anytime.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, back to sudden death. What was I going to say? Yeah, in terms of if I were to nitpick the movie, I could say there was a couple of crap blue screen moments, which there are, but that was the way of things back then. That's really nitpicking. But also, like Darren McCord isn't an especially exciting character. Like he doesn't have much memorable dialogue or whatever. He's fine, and it's Van Damme, so you like him, and he's awesome that way. But he's not exciting like John McClane is, where he has so many like iconic one-liners and things like that. So all the best lines are from the villain. Who it's the villain who steals the show. But I still love Van Damme in it. He's still very sympathetic. And I'm going to put my hand up and say, I think Eschig is one of his best performances in this. Like, I just love the scene whenever he's hugging his son at the end and he just says, I'm sorry. And he's like crying. And it just seems very sort of natural. And I thought, that's actually pretty good acting. And that's sort of the phase, like you were saying, J-Man, you're saying there was like nowhere to run time cop in this, where he was trying something different and trying his acting chops rather than just, the constant fight scenes. But I like that period. But also need to give a shout out to Peter Hyams, the director as well, who directed this, Time Cop, Outland. He's a very underrated director. I think he also did End of Days with Arnie, which I also like.
He did. Yeah.
He did.
And he was the DP on this as well.
Yeah, he was always a DP first and then director. I think he was DP in a lot of his own movies, but Outland was great too. Always like that. I always thought that should take place.
Much recently, like when we did our End of Days episode.
Yeah,
I remember looking into it. I was like, he hasn't really done anything else worthwhile.
No.
Yeah.
I think the last thing he did was The Sound of Thunder, and because that was such a mess, like I don't know if it was finished or whatever, it had awful effects and things like that. And I don't think he did much after that. I tell a lie, he did Enemies Closer with Van Damme, didn't he?
Was that
Yes,
Peter?
I don't even know that one, honestly.
Oh yeah, he did. Enemies Closer. You're right.
Yeah, with Van Damme as a villain. Actually, it's actually quite a lot of fun because Van Damme is basically the Joker in it.
I own a shit ton of his movies, by the way. Like, oh my god, I'm just going through it right now.
I own
Capricorn.
Like, oh, got it.
Yeah. Capricorn 1 is awesome too. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Outland was in our space versus tournament. It made it very far. Actually, it made it very far.
The Relic was good.
The Relic is awesome. I did a report on that in university for one of my film courses.
Yeah.
I had to pick a random movie that was out right there, and I went to go see The Relic, and that's what I did it on. So that was cool.
Oh, nice. Right, so like in a few weeks, because I see Enemies Closer is out in 2013, so we can do a 10-year anniversary chat about that at some point. We'll not do it for a while yet, because I want to do other things other than Van Damme all the time. I'm thinking, hopefully, Steve, we're just waiting for your 4K to arrive. And once that's arrived, everyone else has theirs, don't they? Of Roadhouse.
Yep.
Well, I have J-Man still.
Okay, so because I want everyone to like have their copy over it, and then I was hoping if you guys see each other before next week, will you?
So glorious.
Probably not till Ant-Man.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I've got streams
else.
all week and then all next week.
Yeah. So we'll do something else next week. Then we'll do Roadhouse in a couple of weeks. Then, because I want to make sure everyone has it and watches it. Have you guys, Nate and Charlie, have you seen it on the 4K yet?
No, I've been
Not
waiting
yet.
because you said we want to do a stream. I wanted to be as fresh as possible. I am following. Yeah, I'm following the artist that did all the cover stuff on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Just a few comments to him, like, dude, I just got the 4K and everything. He's like, I hope you like it because there's a lot of fun making the art. It's amazing.
It's seriously like one of my favorite, like, I think
covers
copies of anything I own now.
God.
Like the booklet, like everything. There's so much love
beautiful.
put into that. Like they knocked it out of the park.
I know.
They do a lot of great releases. Did you guys grab? Did everyone grab Beastmaster? I know. I'm sure.
I missed that when that came out, and now it's freaking expensive.
It's really
Steve
good.
had given me the DVD of it, so I thought, well, I've got the DVD, and I watched it at Steve's house only for the first time a few years ago. Steve said I haven't seen the sequels or anything yet, so I would like to. But if I've got the DVD of it, then I thought, well, that's fine. I'll maybe.
There's a couple conventions coming up around in the area, and they're always at them. So it's like I tend to pick up a few right then and there because like they did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 4K. And it's like I didn't get
that. I got every version of that movie that's ever come out unrated and all that, but I didn't get that one. I'm thinking there's some point where I'm like, I can't. I've rebought horror. I have copies of every horror franchise movie that's ever happened. It's like DVD or VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, special edition Blu-ray, collector's edition Blu-ray, your mom's edition Blu-ray, your dad's
your stepdad's
well, that happened with this movie. I bought it on Blu-ray because Owen's like, let's do Sudden Death, and not a week later Kino has their ultimate 4K of Sudden Death coming out, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
I know.
It always happens. Or like what happens with me is like I'll go see a movie in theater and 3 days later it's like it's now available on demand. I'm like, ah!
I'm glad I waited for Megan. I was going
to like that's literally what just happened to me was Megan. Like 3 days later I was like, you assholes.
And now you gotta wait for the gory version because that was supposed to be R and it was cut to shit.
So funny story. The reason why I wanted to see Megan in theaters because I remember seeing the trailer where like a person gets splattered with blood and it caught my eye. I went, I want to see that now. So then go to see the movie and like the scene's coming up and no blood splatter at all. I'm like, did I like make that up? Like, did I like Mandela affect myself?
Was I high?
So then I went back to YouTube and found like the trailer and like, no, it's there still. Like they didn't even take that original trailer down, like the first reveal. So it's like, this is some bullshit. Like now I'm gonna have to wait for it to come. I think it'll be Paramount Plus with them, but like, come on.
I rented it and watched it. I mean, I watched the film and I was like, okay, this is fine if you've never seen a horror movie before.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good gateway for kids.
I was just gonna say that.
That's what you need sometimes. Like you need that good gateway movie. Like, well, Charlie's kids could watch it, and that could be the rabbit hole that sinks them down to go, well, now I want to watch Child's Play or something like that. You know,
Chloe's already started with Child's Play, so I'm sure she wants to see Megan though.
Yeah,
but I don't have to worry about it.
For what it is, I had fun with it. I was like, it's stupid but fun. You know,
I like that.
That's exactly what I was expecting from it, and that was the thing. I was like, no surprises. I was like,
Part 2 will come out in 2 years. I'll go see it.
I'll be there.
No problem with that. Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be R. That way they'll just be like, all right, we messed up. Let's make it R.
Please.
But I think it's doing well, so they're gonna. I'm okay with an alternate version, like uncut or whatever. But
if they film it R-rated, then cut it. I'm down. Yeah. Don't try to go back and
don't do ADR of adding in a bunch of bucks like you did with that Die Hard movie.
Yeah.
Chucky meets Westworld. That's
Mr. Falcon.
Yeah.
I have a T-shirt that says that somewhere. I got to find it and wear it for a stream at some point. I don't know where it is, but it's my favorite thing. Have we really talked about everything to do with sudden death? I feel like we have.
I don't think you asked Charlie about.
No, Charlie, you have.
Charlie.
Oh my God, the action guy here.
I was just letting everybody else go.
Plus, I did text Charlie. I had text Charlie a really funny bit that he better bring up because it hasn't been talked about yet.
You texted me a funny bit. Do I need to
not a bit, but what had happened in the movie where I was dying?
Oh yeah, well yeah, there is that part we all have to talk about, and I'm sure we all probably agree on it. But anyway, I wanted to start, and basically like what you guys were touched on. What I love about this movie most is one of the other reasons. There's another Van Damme movie I like, which is Death Warrant, and it is not martial arts master Jean-Claude Van Damme. it's everyman. So they kind of depower him a little bit. He's not OP this entire movie. And I swear you watch it a few times, you can tell he's holding himself back. Like he really wants to overextend that leg on a kick, but he's like, oh, I can't do that, because I'm not a martial artist.
Not a martial artist.
I'm a fireman. So they play really heavy into that everyman type thing, which was huge in the 90s. This is, while Van Damme is what I consider one of the action gods, he was part of that thing where it's like, well, they don't all need to be huge like Arnold and Stallone and stuff like that. So making him a dad, divorced, people are still kind of shitting on him. Like it's the light bulb scene where he's like, hey, can you go ahead and change that light bulb for me? And the kid even says some shit. That stings, man. That would sting me as a dad, But I love that they kept it that way, and it goes throughout the movie, like you were talking about. He doesn't grab a gun till the dead end, and it's not like he's really, really good at it. He just works his way through very kind of, not haphazardly, but he is just trying to find every bomb. He's watching the clock the whole time with the hockey game, which I love that as a tool instead of that little timer in the bottom corner of a screen where you're like, okay, I have so many minutes before the bomb. As we, the viewers, we can now know there's a hockey game going on. And as that goes on, the time is ticking, especially when it goes to sudden death, which, by the way, this movie gets to say sudden death like 5 freaking times. It's like he said the name of the movie. They did it. And they did it like 5 freaking times. But I love that. And the point of pretty much I'm tensed during the hockey part, with Van Damme out there. And I'm like, okay, that was really cool. The second he gets off that ice and they're chasing him down, the movie goes into light speed, man. It is just nonstop action. Fight a bad guy. Beat him, fight the next bad guy. I mean, it's just going and going and going and going. And it's tense. It is tense as hell as this thing goes on. And I love it. I love he makes the bomb to get into the booth. I'm like, you didn't know where your daughter was, though. But let's blow up the roof as we drop down inside. You didn't know the guy you just kicked was technically a bad guy. He was just laying on the ground next to you. Kicks that poor henchman.
That guy.
Yeah, we know he had a gun, but he didn't. That's the whole point. And, so you get that moment with him and the vice president, which is really cool. And then we get into the chase of Powers Boothe. And it's all great. And as Nate was saying, there's one thing in this movie that I can't forgive it. And I watch this movie all the time. I still can't forgive that we're live and we're far enough ahead. That fucking helicopter falls at a perfect
perfectly vertical. It's fucking perfectly vertical, Charlie.
Straight down, slow as fuck. Everyone stared at each other. Van Damme's daughter is literally
right
one
there
level below, spinning blades of death, and Powers Boothe's face looks like it's taped to the windshield at one point. And
he's reaching like he's gonna get it to control it, but it's not even wobbling at all.
Nothing moves
perfectly.
The tail housing hits the ice, the top stays perfectly straight, and it just
the wide angle shot where you get to see Van Damme on top of the stadium and it's going perfectly down.
Yeah, but you guys didn't know this. That ladder weighs a ton. And the physics of it is pulling it down so much that it's literally teetering it to a perfect angle.
We just watched Missing.
I took advanced physics.
When Chuck
it's okay.
Norris jumped onto the ladder, then he should have pulled the helicopter down.
J-Man was the technical advisor on this movie.
Yeah, but apparently
they didn't check my. I did take all the advanced science courses, but they didn't see that I got a 56 in physics.
I was going to say, apparently you weren't involved in Cliffhanger either, because at least that one's believable when it crashes into the mountain. Because I was expecting that. I wasn't expecting Van Damme to jump on the ladder and shoot up through the thing. I'm like, what is your escape plan? What are you doing right now? I probably would just be like, well, he got away.
Yep.
It would have been fine. Not shoot up through the bottom, it'll come. And I swear that opening was not big enough for helicopter.
No.
At all.
No.
It's action movie logic, though. Come on, there's no logic in it.
It so much is. But
Yeah.
Nate's messaging me this afternoon going perfectly straight helicopter. I'm like, I can't defend that at all.
No, I agree with that. The other thing I like about it is that you're seeing Powers Boothe screaming and suffering before he dies, because that's
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
a long, painful
It
death
takes
for
a
him.
minute 30 for him to finally
Yeah.
hit the ice.
He had time to try and get the controls. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
There's one other thing that I'm still like, why? What was the thought process? Was right before Powers gets on the helicopter, he has this badass line of, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot your kid, and you're going to live with the fact that you couldn't save her.
Couldn't save her. Yeah.
Van Damme jumps in front of a non-existent bullet because the helicopter jostles. They couldn't even make him fire the gun. Like, I would have liked it better had he got the shot off, but it
Because
pulled.
he would, because he's a fucking nut job, and he would have shot him because
That's what I'm saying.
everybody.
Yeah, he would have done it. So I don't mind that pulled his arm, but I wanted the gunshot and at least maybe wing Van Damme. I know he's wounded. He already had a gunshot wound and all the other stuff, but they took this whole badass line, Van Damme throwing himself in front of his daughter for no gunshot, and Powers Boothe laughing as he goes up Joker style into the helicopter.
I bet you they had a shot, and then people probably thought this is too crazy, but actually it makes it better because you're reminded at the very end that, look, I know you forgot that, it's been a few minutes and there's been all this action and it looks very cool, and you forgot what a scumbag this guy is. We're going to remind you at the very moment before his death how scummy he is, and then give you that death. I bet you they took it out.
The test audience probably went, "Oh, you can't point a gun at a kid."
Yeah, in the 90s, they wouldn't be like, "No, you can't do that with a kid." Today, they probably shoot the kid 5 times now. But
that would have fixed my other issue. That would have been the reason Van Damme jumps on that ladder to shoot him. Like, that would have been like, you took a shot at my daughter. Yeah. That would have been that moment of, yep, I'm going to make sure you crash whether I die or not. They make it out like Van Damme just feels like he has to do the FBI's job at this point or whatever.
Really.
Yeah. And I mean, just like, let him go. I can disappear. He's not going to come after me. I'm sure some money got transferred. All that was electronic. So cut bait, run. He already had a helicopter on standby, ready to go. He would have never messed with Van Damme again. But
no, that was his whole plan.
You took the gunshot away, and you screwed up. Yeah,
Charlie, that's a great. You know what? What if he shot? Van Damme jumps, and it goes through his shirt, and then he looks, and the daughter's down. And then he loses his mind, and that's why he has nothing to live for. He doesn't need an escape plan. He just jumps like, fuck it, I'm killing this guy. Yep. Then when he goes back down, he sees that it just like went through her. Jacket or something, and she just fell from the force.
Yes,
and then she's alive, and then that literally would have fixed every problem, and then it wouldn't have been
except for the helicopter that's not
it
would have fixed everything
vertical.
That is such. I know. I always thought that was even in the trailer. I'm like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah,
I don't think helicopters can even work that way. Like,
I don't think so.
Like, you can't reverse. Like, wouldn't you just go up?
I know helicopter sciences, but I think it'd at least do that.
Helicopters go forward from pitch. That's
right.
So when you're like this, it should have just been a rock.
Yeah,
that's all it should have been.
Damn heavy.
Second floor, ladies' lingerie. What's going on, John?
Oh man. Calling it out. Wow.
Yeah, second floor, ladies' lingerie. First floor, men's
sleepwear. Hey, that's are you being served? It's a British.
Is Peter Hyams the best director for Van Damme? Well, I'm gonna have to go. Maybe Sheldon Lettich did Lionheart and Double Impact, and
John Woo is the best I've ever.
Yeah, John Woo did Hard Target, which is my favorite Van Damme film. So,
I mean, that's tough.
It works with some good directors actually. So
Ringo Lam.
Yeah,
was in there for Maximum Risk. I think another couple of other ones.
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, Roland Emmerich for Universal Soldier.
Yeah, Universal Soldier is still my favorite Roland Emmerich film. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like
Let him
Stargate.
go back to
I like
that.
Stargate. Yeah, Stargate.
Stargate's good, but it's not, a kick-ass action movie either. So,
I don't know. It does have give my regards to King Tut asshole.
It's got Kurt Russell though, man.
Yeah. See, any movie with Kurt Russell is automatically awesome. So
you're not. I didn't say it wasn't awesome. I just said it wasn't.
Careful, Charlie.
Yeah, you just watch it.
Yeah, let's get him. Let's all give Charlie a spanking.
You gotta work with me later, Nate. Stop it.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna be on the same side tomorrow, though.
Time Cop was the most successful. I think it was.
Yeah, maybe.
Box office wise, I think so.
I think it was.
Well, that's got the Sam Raimi connection and all that, and the comic book connection and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's just like,
and like you said, it was, you didn't need to know all this other shit. We just knew, okay, there's time travel. I'm in.
Right.
I don't need anything explained to me. Same matter can't occupy the same space. Done.
Right.
All right. I understand.
Although the thing I never understood, where the hell do the vehicles go? Like he sits in the vehicle, goes back in time, and then they just like fall out. And you're like, where
I think 56 in physics. I think
it's totally vertical.
It's totally vertical.
It's two-dimensional.
Goes fully vertical.
Yeah. I think it was like the energy inside the thing removes you. That's why they have that stuff. I don't know why there's a wall there. You think they put cushioning there?
Yeah,
which is
the
weird.
twins.
It's like, do they lose that vehicle? I don't know if that vehicle like just disintegrates and then what's left inside. It's like the globe in Terminator. Like when he lands, it's like that whole thing just evaporates and then that flesh. So it's only the, I guess, living flesh.
Don't they come back in the car?
Yeah, I don't really know how that works. I got to rewatch that movie and see that.
They do, because he comes back in the car with the girl the first time.
Yeah, he does come back.
They do in Austin Powers. It's the same car.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mults make everything better.
Time travel, mults, and butts and seats. We just wanted more Van Damme butts.
Just don't touch yourself or you die.
Yeah. As anybody, I posted a video last week. I got to give a shout out to a YouTuber called Space Ice.
I watched every video after you told me about it.
I couldn't sleep last night. I think I watched all of his videos. I was laying on the couch and I was watching it, and I was watching his sudden death video.
I watched sudden death as well.
Yeah, when I was like, "My daddy's a boss," he's like, "Hell yeah, he is."
He's like, "This is the dumbest kid of all time." He's
like, well, it was like the most perfectly planned terrorist. They have this completely planned out, except they picked where Van Damme works.
Yeah, I love how he worships Van Damme, like shits it all over Seagal, and the Seagal videos are hilarious. And he's like, "There's a morbidly obese man right in front of you, and you're not doing a goddamn thing."
I love that guy.
He makes fun of a lot of stuff that I've watched. I've gone on a mission to watch all these Seagal movies. There's a few that are unbearable. I've made my wife now literally turns around. Like normally when I'm watching something she doesn't like, she just reads her manga. But now she literally turns the chair away. She's like, I can't even have it in the peripheral vision.
Seagal has that effect on women.
It does.
Of course.
Yeah.
But there's nudity in every movie, so and he don't gotta pick them. But like, and then I watch Space versions of it, and I'm like, that's exactly the movie. But then sometimes he makes fun of things like that's not exactly what happened, but I see.
No, but he makes it up. Yeah, I love how he puts in Van Damme. Van Damme takes some time out to go to Thailand to do some dancing in every movie.
Always intercuts the kickboxer. I love it.
The best one actually is The Running Man. Have you seen that?
I haven't watched that one yet.
Oh, I don't know what crazy shit this baby did to wind up in prison.
No. In Running Man, he goes, it starts out telling you how bad the future is, but thank God they lied because the future is awesome.
And the prison guards are shooting everybody except the guys having the fight. Did you guys discuss Welcome to Sudden Death? Yeah, I think I'm the only one that's seen it and it sucked. I wanted to like it, but I liked it because it was Michael Jai White and Maurice Crump was in it. But apart from that, it wasn't a remake. It was sort of like a sequel, reboot kind of. I don't know, just
a requel.
A requel,
It's basketball, right?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
You don't like that's not a thing. You go into overtime.
Yeah.
Right. So you go into overtime. Death. You go to sudden death.
Overtime.
Do you play the full thing? Do you play the full thing in basketball?
I'm no basketball scientist either.
You played a full 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's another time.
Yeah, not like sudden death.
Not like
one
hockey
goal
where
and
the
ends
next
it.
goal wins. Yeah,
No,
right.
it's not like hockey where the goal ends the
Okay.
game. They actually play, because I remember I was watching a game with the Raptors and this lady was beside me and she tapped me on the shoulder and I'm like, what? She's like, do they all just run up and down and shoot and that's I'm like, yeah, it's not like hockey. And she's like, oh, okay. Because we only think in hockey terms here.
I've been to a couple of Raptors games, and the only time I go is I go and I just stare at their cheerleaders, and that's it. And I was like, "That's what we're supposed to do, right?"
They're easy to stare at.
Yeah, and that's about it. But
See, now I want to see Van Damme fight the Raptor.
Yeah, he needs to take his grown-up kids to a basketball game in Toronto. There we go.
That's it.
The Raptor is very acrobat. He'll throw himself headfirst down the stairs and stuff. I'm like,
it's a perfect combatant for Van Damme. I like this.
Nate is no science.
When he's right, he's right.
I like how Pete shows up when you're here. When Charlie's the only one here, fine. I don't need to hang out.
Oh no.
That's our other host, Pete.
Why don't they do a movie with all of the guys from the Die Hard movies in one movie? And they're all vacationing at the same spot that these terrorists attack or something. And that'd be fun. It's like all of the heroes who have done Die Hard, like take all the Die Hard.
John McClane, Darren McCord, Jack Traven, all these people.
Yeah, and they're all at like some convention or something, and then it's like they get attacked, and then they're like, we're at it again. And then the one guy's like, he goes, "This is just like that time in Pittsburgh," and the other guy's like, "This is like Nakatomi." It's like, it's like
the same shit happened to the same guy 30 times.
That's right.
And then like a bus comes in and it's like going real fast and Keanu jumps off. He's like, God damn, they drive fast in this part of the neck of the woods or something. It's like, oh, that'd be great.
This is the plot line to the Expendables 5. This alone. Yeah. 4, I don't know what the hell it's going to be about, but 5.
Yeah, Casey Ryback. He's a chef, and he's eating too much, and they're like, "Boy, Casey, you've really put on a little bit of weight there. You've been eating your own food." It's like I'm a damn good cook.
A good chef always tastes his own food.
I feel like then I think next week should be the Under Siege versus. What do you say?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
My wife won't like it, but
I've seen him so many times. I probably don't even need to rewatch him. I'll watch the second one because I can watch it on repeat anyway because it's the best comedy ever.
I love the one.
Second one is amazing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but the first one's got Tommy Lee Jones, which is amazing.
Yeah, Gary Busey.
It's got Gary Busey in a dress.
Yeah.
And it has Erica Leniak.
I can't get over Eric Bogosian. Who is Casey fucking Ryback? I just love that.
He's my instructor in Fort Bragg. He's the best there is.
There's always a scene where someone has to list off Seagal's like qualifications.
Badass.
And someone knows them all. Like I don't even know this much about my mom's job. That's
like they do that in this movie. They have like Van Damme's file pulled up and they're like screen watching what the FBI's. Well, this guy's got a lot of commendations. Yeah, but he lost it on that last one. I'm like, wouldn't you? You fucking little kid died in your arms, you assholes.
Yeah,
leave him the fuck alone.
But he does at least say he has heroic tendencies.
Tendencies.
Yeah.
That's right.
We don't care about his trauma. He's fired.
That's right.
That's one thing. Which is back to sudden death. Actually, I thought, I guess he's just like traumatized after the death of the kid. And I was like, yeah, you really didn't do anything wrong. The building fell on top of you.
It wasn't his fault.
The building should lose its job. Never mind him.
Let that bitch burn.
Yeah.
Who built that building? That's who we should go after.
Yeah.
Not making it fireproof.
Exactly. Yeah. So okay, so is everybody good to do Under Siege versus Under Siege 2 next week?
I'll do it. Yep.
Sounds all right.
Good. So
my time to watch 2 Steven Seagal movies.
I know. I'll watch the first one again because I haven't seen that for a while. But the second one, I'll probably just watch anyways because it's fun.
2 words: Erica Leniak.
Yeah, I said that earlier. It fell on deaf ears, so I assumed.
We were all hee-hawing around. We're
sorry.
You have to say Miss July. That's all you have to say.
Oh yeah.
July.
Yeah, you see, there's no nudity in the second movie, so
this
will be a fun discussion.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Oh, there is?
There was a laser.
Giant boob they show you at the
laser.
very beginning at the movie when they're doing the satellite on the beach, and she's about to turn over.
I'm gonna have to watch that later on.
Yeah, but that's when I'm eating. You can't. They should have known better. You can't introduce something like that because we know that we're eating while watching these movies.
And
so usually we're like our faces down. That's why the plot doesn't start for about 10 minutes.
You get what's her name, Brenda Brockie or whatever her name is. She's in lingerie. Yeah, she's in lingerie in the train. So I mean, there you go.
Yeah, but the one we want to see in lingerie doesn't do it.
No, I know she's wearing a sweater the entire time. Like,
I think because technically she might still be underage, guys. I don't know. So I don't
Not
think
in
she
Canada.
was filming.
Not in Canada. We're very.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't know these people. Prank callers.
Prank call.
Guys, I'm calling it a night.
There we go.
Take care.
All right, Steve's got.
You got 18 seconds.
All right.
Steve's like, I'm out of here. I gotta get canceled.
Yeah, we're gonna be canceled by next week anyway. So, yeah.
I gotta go before I'm canceled.
Let's see, Steve. Okay. So. Okay, John. Let you know. Oh yeah, you're working on a Wednesday, but yeah, I'll send you the invite anyway, John, so you can join.
Yeah.
So anybody else have any thoughts on sudden death which you haven't discussed already?
No,
it's
really
awesome.
Cool.
It's probably, I'd say real close in my top 5. There are like other ones
it is
for me.
Can I say something really controversial? Right, I have actually watched it.
At it. Go for it.
I have watched it more times than Bloodsport or Kickboxer.
Wow,
that is controversial for me. I've watched Bloodsport 4,000 times. I know all the music cues, all the moves.
I feel like I've seen Bloodsport more, but this is definitely one of the more like rewatched ones.
Yeah.
No, Steve's looking up the age. He's like, what is the age in Canada again?
I believe she was 18 or something, 18 or 19 or something. So.
Oh, and she's clear.
Yeah.
I think I'm not gonna say the age I think it is because you're gonna look it up and that's gonna be true and they're gonna wonder how I know that. But I think you're good in Canada.
I'm pretty sure though the actress herself was like in her 20s or something.
Oh yeah, I think she was. Yeah.
I don't know why
There's
we're
contracts.
still on this.
Let's just move on before we get canceled.
I want to see how many shades of red Nate turns. That's what I'm looking for.
It's pretty red.
Van Damme's early career, there's a lot. I don't know where this would place for me. The thing is like I think my top 5 Van Damme movies would have 11 movies in it.
Yeah,
it's like my top 5
list goes to 11.
Exactly. Like I don't even know. Like
because you got Lionheart, Double Impact, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Death Warrant. I love all of them.
Like
and then
Universal Soldier, Death Warrant, Hard Target's the best. I don't know.
Tons. So yeah, it's a tough one. But
and then you get in the ones that you just freaking like because I love Street Fighter. I just enjoy the hell out of that movie.
I can't wait to do Street Fighter.
I like
never
Cyborg.
got Street Fighter until I watched it recently. I hadn't watched it in years, right? I picked up the Blu-ray recently and I was like, the movie is an absolute parody and it's deliberately meant to be exactly what it is.
As a video game. And
as a kid, I did not like it. I thought it was stupid. And that's as a kid. And then like revisiting it in high school and realizing like, oh, you're supposed to be in on the joke. And it like completely rechanges like how that movie's supposed to be viewed. And like now I can't wait to cover it on our podcast because I really want to watch Street Fighter
on the list because I bought that Steelbook too, and it's
awesome.
freaking gorgeous.
Fantastic.
I love
on that too. Where they actually give him guile hair, even though he doesn't have it in the movie.
I had the cassette tape of the soundtrack.
I have it on CD.
Nice.
Which is crazy. I put whatever Van Damme movie was out, I would switch my poster. Like I had whatever poster was out, I'd switch it. So I have every poster from like Double Impact on, like up to like Double Team or Legionnaire. Like I kept getting every movie poster and then I would swap it out. I like Street Fighter. I'm a Street Fighter player from Street Fighter 1. Never stopped playing. I'm still playing. I haven't played 5, but like 4 Ultra Street Fighter 4 Ultra. I'm still playing that. I played every Street. I'm a Street Fighter super nerd. I saw that movie in theater and I was like, I kind of like it, even though it's trash. Because the animated Street Fighter had come out. And I loved that. I thought the movie was like kind of like not great, but I'm like, I like the movie just for fun. And
I love it.
First, was it Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter that came out?
Street Fighter's way before Mortal Kombat.
Was it? Okay, I couldn't remember.
I mean, sorry, the video game you're talking, right?
No, I'm talking about
the movie. I don't know.
It was out in '94, and I think Mortal Kombat was '95.
Mortal Kombat's '95, right there.
Yeah. That should be a versus Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. We should do that for one.
That's. I mean, you could do it, but. it's like if anyone says one of them, I'm going to be very upset.
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I knew which one was going to be.
one has Van Damme and one doesn't.
You
So-
don't have the
I
kick
know.
out button.
One has
Owen
Scorpion
does.
and one doesn't.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat's
One-
another favorite game.
One
Played every
has
version of that,
Zangief and
so.
one doesn't. One has M.
Yeah.
Bison
It's
and
the-
one doesn't.
It's the fake Zangief.
Game
Yeah.
For
over.
me, it
It
was
was Tuesday, yes,
Best
that is
line ever.
It's
I love
one
that.
of my favorite lines in an action
That
movie.
is an
man.
awesome
I
line.
love it.
I just love that. So, all right. Well, I think we shall wrap it up. Well, this is actually one of our shorter ones. I thought this was
This
one
really
for
is.
ages, but
We
James
got
Bond.
time to watch Midsummer.
Yeah, what are we
let's
missing, J-Man? James Bond, Star
Bond,
Wars.
Star Wars. Batman, Zack
Batman.
Snyder.
yeah. I've started watching the first 10 minutes of Wakanda Forever. It's on Disney Plus. I'm going to watch the rest of that tonight and I'll review it
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's-
Oh, I'm
that's
sorry.
streaming now.
I feel bad
so-
for you.
I'll see what it's like.
I'm sure my kids will turn it on. I'll end up watching it. So it'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I've been sort of curious about it, but it's not. I would agree with that. Raul Julia was a national treasure.
Yeah,
Agreed.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
Also,
Absolutely.
at some point, and I want to do this. I want to talk about the No Retreat, No Surrender trilogy because like there's two other movies.
I didn't see part 3.
Yeah, I need
Lauren
to watch
Avedon,
'em.
and Paul Vitale, I think it is. But good fun. I think they're on YouTube. Not that I promote such a thing. I have them on DVD. I have a box set. It's like the trilogy.
I say
I
if
love
it's
part
impossible to find, I have no problem with using YouTube. Like if I can't
Well,
find
thing,
it
yeah.
somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, I have it on DVD anyway.
Or
that's fine.
Tubi.
Tubi.
Good old
has a-
Tubi is
I
the
love
best
Tubi.
streaming service.
It
It is
is
my
yeah.
It
favorite.
is the best.
If you're looking for Z grade action movies, they're all on there. And
I love it.
That's where I'm on all the time.
Pick
So-
one and then just let Tubi guide you the rest of the day. It's so amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and it's stuff you've never even heard of. But I was like, that sounds terrible. I have to see it.
They
So,
put
yeah.
they put like those Italian action exploitations, like
yes,
the Warriors of the Bronx,
Raiders of
and,
Atlantis and things
Raiders
like
of
that. yeah.
Atlantis is on there. There's like 3 or 4, and I'm like, I gotta watch those. I just go
And
watch
I think I own all those. It's like
Yeah.
I buy any Italian thing. I'm just buying
Yeah.
this. It's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be good.
So if Tubi want to sponsor the Action League, you can just go right ahead because we
Yeah,
will
come
happily
on.
accept that.
How can we get a hold of someone from Tubi? I don't care if it's a janitor.
Yeah.
I have said they don't have to pay me. Just give me that part of Tubi where it remembers what I watched.
Yeah,
I just
and
want
where I
the-
was at watching it.
I,
so if
I
pops
want
Yeah.
premium Tubi in return for sponsorship. That's all I
yeah,
need. Tubi.
that's it. That's it.
You don't have to
and
give
then
me
I'll never
money.
leave my house.
Yep.
Just quit my job. What do you do for a living? I watch Tubi.
I watch
Tubi.
Tubi all day.
And then everyone at work always goes, "What's Tubi?" I'm like, "Oh, well, let me tell you."
Take a seat, my lad, and I shall tell you the tale.
No, don't you
Still
feel
so
happy? Don't
underrated.
you feel happy when they ask and they don't know? Because then you're like bringing them something that's going to make
Yeah.
their lives better, and it's coming
Merry
from
Christmas.
Well, no, because
Yeah.
everyone goes, "Why is it free? Is it legal?" I'm like, "No, it is.
you.
Trust
It
me.
is, yeah.
It's gonna give
I
you
will make it
even
legal.
better resolution than like some streaming services that you pay for." So let me tell you about
And
this
then you get
little gem.
the handful of people that are like, when you're like, well, you watch a little bit of commercial, and they're like, oh, I'm out. I'm like, these are like less
like one ad.
commercials. Yeah, they're less commercials than we ever had growing up on TV. Like,
Sometimes I
can
think
live with
Tubi
this.
forgets to give you a commercial.
Yes,
I
I've heard
swear,
that before.
I
Yeah.
swear,
Yeah.
sometimes it does that.
Yeah.
Like it almost always gets one like right before you start
Yeah.
whatever you're
Right.
going to watch. And there for a while I was getting 3, but I think really it does somewhat remember you. And it's like, okay, you're on here a lot, so one ad.
We're gonna treat
One
you well.
ad. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
New watchers are gonna, we'll hit you with 3. We don't know if you're gonna come back.
And
Yeah.
Can I say something to this? Like, oh, there's an ad in the beginning. Okay, first of all, every DVD or Blu-ray or 4K that I put in, there's 4,000 things, and now you can't chapter through
Copyright
them.
warning. Copyright warning. I want to skip
Copyright,
it.
right? It's like I bought the goddamn movie. Can I skip it? You can't even.
That was
Yeah.
the big thing
Yeah.
when DVDs first came out was you no longer had to do with the VHS like watching
Right.
14 trailers. So it was like
Yeah.
sweet, straight to the menu.
Right,
And now how that has casually come right back.
right,
It's like,
right
damn it.
back.
It's gone back to Nate's favorite thing. You wouldn't steal a car, would you?
It's like, well, I don't know what kind of car is it. Like,
Exactly.
am I getting caught? Am I in my own living room? Did I already
Don't.
buy 4,000 movies?
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious.
Can I pirate it if I own 5 copies? There's a question for the
Right.
ages. I technically have paid for this movie.
Yeah.
We're
what was I saying?
degrading, guys.
Yeah.
So before we go, so G-Man, what have you got coming up over the next week?
Well, tomorrow, Sean and I are doing Days of High Adventure, and we're doing Fire and Ice. Frank Frazetta, Ralph Bakshi. It's a masterpiece. I just watched it before this stream.
I've never
It's a-
seen it. I gotta
Oh
see it.
my
I've heard of
God.
it, but I haven't seen
It's
it.
like my whole life.
Oh, it's so good, guys.
It's my whole life. I got
it's animated. If you don't know, it's animated.
Oh yeah, no, I
Same
do
guy
that.
that did
Is it
the Lord of the
rotoscope
Rings
animation?
animation, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and it's rotoscope, so it's got
Yeah.
that interesting look. So we're talking about that, and then Friday, Nate is going to be on for I think first time on my channel.
Yeah.
And we're doing the Ari Aster films. He's only got third one's out this year, but we're doing Hereditary and Midsommar, and I researched how to say it so I can say it properly. But we're going to do a space versus. So we're going to do the story, the pace, and the artistry, characters, enjoyment. We're going to see which one comes out on top. I kind of know which one I like.
Oh, I already know which one I like for like the past couple of years, and it's killing me that I'm not allowed to talk about it yet.
Okay, yeah, no. So
I know.
Yep. And then Saturday we're doing the DC film tier ranking, and those are riots. We just did Marvel last. It was like a 3-hour stream last Saturday doing the MCU. There's only a few arguments, but we're doing the DC one. So if anyone can come on to those, I think I've got 6 people already coming on to do this. Yeah. And I'm the biggest DC nerd of all time, and I have strong opinions, as you well know. So that'll be fun on Saturday.
Oh, you drinking violet that you are. So Nate and Charlie, what do you guys got coming up in the next week?
Tomorrow drops the part 2 of our anniversary episode where we cover Missing in Action and do our Q&A because it's our 2nd anniversary for doing the podcast. So tomorrow is part 2. Thank you.
And Tuesday we have the horror movie Raw coming out on the channel.
Pete takes over all of the month of February. Nate and I only find out what the movies are as we record. And Pete has a very unique taste in movies. So it's going to be interesting, but it'll be good. Let's see. We also just did our
tomorrow. I'm just going to say it. We're doing a movie called Cutie Honey as our action pick based on 1970s anime that predates Sailor Moon. I will have strong words about Cutie Honey.
Very strong. But we did just do our live stream of the movie Crabs last Monday, so that's on YouTube right now.
That was awesome.
That was fun. Oh, it's so much fun, Owen.
Yeah.
It's a blast. It's good gooey nostalgia fun.
Next live stream will be Cocaine Bear if we can pull it off.
Oh, it comes out at the end of the month, of February, so we might have
find something new. Like
I might fill in something.
Out.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so live streaming us and all that stuff on the YouTubes. I think J-Man's dropping all the links in the comments right there as it goes. I'm getting better at it. Exactly. I'm getting better at it. I got to get everybody's links added to our channels. I just learned how to do thumbnails today. So slowly but surely I'm getting there.
As well. Yeah, so you got to build
internet.
Yeah.
So exactly.
The links to everyone's stuff is in the description of this video, as well as the live chat, which can be seen on replays. But if you don't, it is in the description of the video as well. So make sure you check that out, and you can subscribe to everybody. I hit the notification bell because YouTube favors the big boys, and we're not there yet. So help us out.
So, and for anybody watching, we will see you next week then for Under Siege versus Under Siege 2, which I'm actually really excited about because that's going to be fun.
Territory.
For not getting to do Roadhouse, I'm okay with the substitution. I'm good.
Yeah. So
you know what? I'll have a palate cleanser with Roadhouse.
Exactly. There you go. So because I want to make sure everybody's got their 4K copies of it, you get to watch it whenever, so we can discuss just how beautiful it looks. So
sounds good.
There we are. So. All right, guys. So we'll see you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. EST for Under Siege versus Under Siege 2. And remember, if you're watching, you are the Action Elite.